All right, so for each video check-in, we're going to be reading from the book called The One and Only Ivan. How it's going to work is each day you'll kind of click in the link on my Schoology page. You'll watch me read or listen to me read. It's going to be anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes long, and then there'll be some type of response, either a summary or some questions that you will do in Schoology, and at the end of each video I'll just say go to part 1 in Schoology or answer this in Schoology and then submit it, and that'll kind of count as your activity for the day. So today's video might be a little bit longer just because I'm kind of introducing all this stuff. I do have like a snowball microphone that I'll be talking into, so hopefully the sound isn't too wonky. I don't have to yell into the computer. This book I normally read for summer school when we have summer school in class with kids, because it kind of is shorter. It's not a high level story, but it kind of works with some of the literature standards that we as grown-up teachers kind of have to make sure we go through. So this book is based off of a true story of a gorilla that was actually in a mall, not a zoo, in Minnesota. And then obviously it's not real life fiction since the animals are personified, meaning they talk. But yeah, let's get started, right? So, One and Only Ivan. Sometimes there'll be pictures too. If you want to see the pictures, I'll show you the pictures. Alright, there aren't any chapters in this book either. It's just in separate parts that have little captions, so I'll like read the captions and then show pictures as I go. So part 1 starts. Hello, my name is Ivan. I'm a gorilla. It's not as easy as it looks. That's Ivan. People call me the freeway gorilla, the ape at exit 8, the one and only Ivan, the mighty silverback. The names are mine, but they're not me. I'm Ivan. Just Ivan. Humans waste words. They toss them like banana peels and leave them to rot. Everyone knows that the peels are the best part. I suppose you think gorillas can't understand you. Of course, you probably think we can't walk upright. You try knuckle walking for an hour. You tell me, which is more fun. I've learned to understand human words over the years, but understanding human speech is not the same as understanding humans themselves. Humans speak too much. They chatter like chimps, crowding the world with their noise, even when they have nothing to say. It took me some time to recognize that all those human sounds, and weave them together, they're words. But I was patient. You see, patience is a useful way to be when you're an ape. Gorillas are patient as stones. Humans, not so much. I used to be a wild gorilla, and I still look the part. I have a gorilla's shy gaze, a gorilla's sly smile. I wear a snowy saddle of fur, the uniform of a silverback. When the sun warms my back, I cast a gorilla's majestic shadow. In my size, humans see it and test themselves. They hear fighting words on the wind, when all I'm thinking is how late the day sun reminds me of my ripe nectarine. I'm mightier than a human, 400 pounds of pure power. My body looks made for battle. My arms outstretched span taller than the tallest human. My family tree spreads wide as well. I'm a great ape, and you are a great ape too, and so are chimpanzees and orangutans and baboons, all of us distant cousins. I know this is troubling. I too find it hard to believe there is a connection across time and space, linking me to a race of ill-mannered clowns. Chimps. There's no excuse for them. I live in a habitat called the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade. We're conveniently located off I-95 with shows at 2, 4, and 7, 365 days a year. Mac says that when he answers the trifling telephone. Mac works at the mall. He's the boss. So Mac is like our main character's Ivan, his like keeper. At the Big Top Mall, creaky music carousel spins all day, and monkeys and parrots live among the merchants. In the middle of the mall is a ring with benches where humans can sit with their rumps while they eat soft pretzels. The floor is covered with sawdust made of dead trees. My domain is at one end of the ring. I live here because I too am too much gorilla and not enough human. Stella's domain is next to mine. Stella is an elephant. Alright, so we got Ivan's our gorilla, Stella's the elephant, and Mac is our keeper, or our owner. She and Bob, who is a dog, are my dearest friends. And then we throw in Bob, too, a dog. At present, I don't have any gorilla friends. My domain is made of thick glass and rusty metal and rough cement. Stella's domain is made of metal bars. The sun bear's domain is wood. The parrot's is wire mesh. 3 of my walls are glass, and one of them is cracked, and a small piece about the size of my hand is missing from its bottom corner. I made that hole with a baseball bat Mac gave me for my 6th birthday. After that, he took the bat away, but let me keep the baseball that came with it. A jungle scene, then, is painted on one of my domain walls. It has a waterfall without water, and flowers without scent, and trees with no roots. I didn't paint it, but I enjoy the way the shapes flow across my wall, even if it ain't much of a jungle. I am lucky my domain has 3 windowed walls. I can see the whole mall and a bit of the world beyond. The frantic pinball machines, the pink billows of cotton candy, the vast and treeless parking lot. Beyond the lot is a freeway where the cars stampede without end, and a giant sign at its edge beckons them to stop and rest like gazelles at a watering hole. The sign's a bit faded, the color's bleeding, but I know what it says. Mac reads the words out loud one day. The sign says, "Come to the Exit 8 Big Top Mall Video and Arcade, home of the one and only Ivan, the mighty Silverback." And that's the sign. Sadly, I cannot read, although I wish I could. Reading stories would make a fine way to fill my empty hours. Once, however, I was able to enjoy a book left in my domain by one of my keepers. It tasted like a termite. The freeway billboard has a drawing of Mac in the clown clothes and Stella on her hind legs, and an angry animal with fierce eyes and unkempt hair. You see, that animal's supposed to be me, but the artist made a mistake. I'm never angry. Anger is precious. A silverback uses anger to maintain order and warn his troops of danger. When my father beat his chest, it was to say, "Beware, listen, I'm in charge. I'm angry to protect you, because that's what I was born to do." Here in my domain, though, there is no one to protect. My neighbors here at the Big Top Mall know many tricks. They are an educated bunch, more accomplished than I. One of my neighbors plays baseball, although she is a chicken. Another drives a fire truck, although he's a rabbit. I used to have a neighbor, a sleek and thoughtful seal, who could balance a ball on her nose from dawn till dusk. Her voice was like a throaty bark of a dog chained outside on a cold night. Children wished on pennies and tossed them into her plastic pool. They glowed on the bottom like flat copper stones. The seal was hungry one day, or bored perhaps, so she ate 100 pennies. Mac said she'll be fine. He was mistaken. Mac calls our show the littlest big top on earth. Every day at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 7, humans fan themselves, drink sodas, and applaud. Babies wail. Mac dresses up like a clown and pedals a tiny bike. A dog named Snickers rides on Stella's back. Stella, the elephant, sits on a stool. It's a pretty sturdy stool. Stella told me that some circuses move from town to town. They have humans who dangle on ropes. They have grumbling lions with teeth and snaking line of elephants, each clutching the limp tail of the front of hers. The elephants look far off into the distance, so they won't let the humans who want to see them. Our circus doesn't migrate. We sit here, like an old beast too tired to push on. After our show, humans forage through the stores. You see, a store is where humans buy things they need to survive. At the Big Top Mall, some stores sell new things like balloons or t-shirts and caps, and some stores sell old things. All day, I watch humans scurry from store to store. They pass their green paper, dry as old leaves, smelling of 1,000 hands, back and forth, back and forth. They hunt frantically, stalking, pushing, grumbling. Then they leave, clutching their bags filled with things. Bright things, soft things, shiny things. But no matter how full their bags are, they always come back for more. More stuff. Humans are clever indeed. They spin pink clouds that you can eat. They build domains with flat waterfalls. But they are lousy hunters. Some animals live privately, unwatched. But that is not my life. My life is flashing lights, pointing fingers, and uninvited visitors. Inches away. Humans flatten their little hands against the wall of the glass that separates us. The glass, you say, that says you are this and we are that, and that's how it will always be. Humans leave their fingerprints behind, sticky with candy and sweat. Each night, a weary man comes to wipe them away. Sometimes I press my nose against the glass. My nose print, like a fingerprint, is the first and last and only one. The man wipes the glass, and then I'm gone. Here in my domain, I don't really have much to do. You can only throw so many me-balls at humans before you get bored. A me-ball is made by rolling up dung. Dung's another word for poop. It's the size of a small apple, and then let it dry. I always keep a few on hand. For some reason, my visitors never seem to carry any. In my domain, I have a tire swing, a baseball, and a tiny pool filled with dirty water, and even an old TV. I stuffed a toy gorilla there too. Julia, the daughter of the weary man who cleans them all each night, gave it to me. Alright, so kind of review. Ivan Gorilla, main character. Stella Elephant. We also have Mac, the owner, and then we have Julia here, who is the daughter of the person that cleans up after each show. The gorilla has empty eyes and floppy limbs, but I sleep with it every night, and I call it Not Tag. You see, Tag was my twin sister's name. Julia is 10 years old. She has hair like black glass and a wide half-moon smile. She and I have a lot in common. We are both great apes, and we are both artists. Julia's not an ape, though. She's a small girl, like 7 or 8. It was Julia who gave me my first crayon, a stubby blue one, slipped it right through my broken spot in my glass, along with some paper. I knew what I had to do with it. I watched Julia draw all the time, so when I dragged my crayon across the paper, it felt like a trail. Julia's drawings are wild with color and movement. She draws things that aren't real, clouds that smile and cars that swim. She draws until her crayons break and her paper rips. Her pictures are like pieces of a dream. I can't draw dreamy pictures. I never remember my dreams, although I sometimes awaken with my fists clenched and my heart hammering. My drawings seem pale and timid next to Julia's. She draws the ideas in her head. I draw things in my cage, simple items, like an apple, a banana, a candy wrapper. But even though I draw the same things over and over again, I never get bored with my art. When I'm drawing, that's all I think about. I don't think about where I am, about yesterday or even tomorrow. I just move my crayons across the paper. Humans don't always seem to recognize what I've drawn. They squint, they cock their heads, they murmur. I'll draw a banana perfectly and they'll say, it's a yellow airplane, or it's a duck without wings. That's alright. I'm not drawing for them. I'm drawing for me. Max soon realized that people are going to pay for a picture made by a gorilla, even if it's not that good. Now, I draw every day, and my work sells for $20 a piece, $25 with a frame, at the gift shop near my domain. If I ever get tired and need a break, I just eat my crayons. Those are his pictures that they sell for $25 a pop. I think I've always been an artist. Even as a baby, I still cling to my mother. I had an artist's eye. I saw shapes in clouds, sculptures. I grabbed at colors and flowers. I don't really remember much about my earlier life before the Zoo Top Mall, but I do remember this. Whenever I got the chance, I would dip my fingers into the cool mud and use my mother's back for a canvas. She was a patient soul, my mother. Someday, I hope I can draw the way Julia draws, imagining worlds that don't yet exist. I know what most humans think. They think gorillas don't have imaginations. They think we don't remember our past or our future. Come to think of it, I suppose they have a point. Mostly I think about what is, not what could be. I've learned not to get my hopes up. When the Big Top Mall was first built, it smelt of new paint and fresh hay, and humans came from morning till night. They drifted past my domain in hundreds. Lately, a day might go by without a single visitor. Max says he's worried. He says I'm not cute anymore. He says, Ivan, you've lost your magic, old guy. You used to be a hit. It's true that some of my visitors don't linger the way they used to. They stare through the glass, they cluck their tongues, they frown when I watch my TV. He looks lonely, they always say. Not long ago, a little boy stood before my glass, tears streaming down his cheeks. He must be the loneliest girl in the world, he said, clutching his mom's hand. At times like that, I wish humans could understand me the way I understand them. It's not so bad, I want to tell the boy. With enough time, you can get used to almost anything. My visitors are often surprised when they see the TV Mac put in my domain. They find it odd that the sight of a gorilla sitting at a TV. Sometimes I wonder, though, is it the way they stare at me, sitting in their tiny box, just as strange? My TV is old, doesn't always work, and sometimes days will go before anyone remembers to turn it on. I'll watch anything, but I'm particularly fond of cartoons. Bob, my dog friend, loves TV almost as much as I do. So Bob is like a stray dog. He's not actually a part of the circus. He prefers to watch professional bowling and cat food commercials. Bob and I have seen many romance movies too. In a romance, there's a lot of hugging and sometimes face licking. I have not yet to see a single romance starring a gorilla. We also enjoy old Western movies. In a Western movie, someone always says, this town ain't big enough for the both of us. And in a Western, you can always tell who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. and the good guys always win. Bob says that westerns are nothing like real life, though. I have been in my domain for 9,855 days, alone. For a while, I was young and foolish, and I thought I was the last gorilla on Earth. I tried not to dwell on it. Still, it's hard to stay upbeat when you think there's no more of you. Then one night, after I watched a movie about men in black hats and guns, a different show came on. It wasn't a cartoon, a western, or a romance. Instead, I saw a lush forest. I saw birds. I saw grass. And I saw trees. Then I saw him. He was a bit thoroughbred and scrawny. Not as good looking as I am, to be honest. But sure enough, it was another gorilla. As suddenly as he appeared, the gorilla vanished, and in his place was a scruffy white animal called, I learned, a polar bear. Then a chubby water creature called a manatee. Then another animal, and another. All night I sat wondering about that gorilla. Where'd he live? Where'd he come from? If he was out there somewhere, could I get there? Or was it just the two of us in the world, trapped in our own separate boxes? All right, so I'm going to stop there for today. So then at the end of each of these little videos, I'll have you go to Schoology. Today you'll check in and click on the Part 1 test. It's not an actual test. That's just what I have to call it in Schoology. It's going to just ask you to summarize kind of what we read today. I'll kind of have my clear expectations in the Part 1 test it's called in Schoology. But go ahead and log into that right now. Email me if you have any questions. I'm on my computer. Other than that, I'll see you for our next video for Part 2. And I'm probably going to be wearing the same thing.